Hi everybody. I saw and heard the need for a slightly shorter supply and demand video. So I am creating that for you now, and I'm going to have our guided notes up on the side so that you can see what's going on. And hopefully that'll make things a little bit clearer as we go through. So this is going to be for multiple days. Don't panic about it. Just do what you can when you can. All right, so today I want to finish just the information over demand, supply, price ceiling, and price floor. And then tomorrow we'll talk about the other information. So, for starters, we've got our first question: where does consumer purchasing take place on the circular flow? So, if you take a look here, you can see that consumer purchasing takes place in the product market on the circular flow. That's where money payments go out of households and are exchanged for goods and services. And then the next question is, what is demand? So here, demand is the desire and ability to buy something. So as I say in class a lot, I may want a Tesla, but I don't have the money to be able to buy a Tesla. So demand isn't just the desire for something, it's also the ability to purchase it because you have readily available funds. The law of demand. Law of demand says that when price rises, the quantity demanded decreases. So for demand, price and quantity are inversely related. So the law of demand here is going to show you that price and quantity are at an inverse. A little further down on your graph, you'll see this demand schedule. I'm sorry things are a little bit out of order, but demand schedule here is the chart that shows demand. So what we're doing is kind of like filling in an equation in algebra class. You've got price and quantity, and you're going to fill in this demand schedule with the different prices, $15, $12, $9, and you're going to fill in the quantity. The reason I want you to write that is I do want you to really see that relationship, and writing it down is really helpful. So you'll see that as the price comes down, the quantity demanded goes up. People are more willing to buy things as prices go down. The demand curve here, again, you had to scroll down a little bit for it. I'm sorry for that, and you can hit Control F for that. Demand curve you can define as the graph of a demand schedule. So the demand curve is a graph of a demand schedule, and you'll see that price and quantity are inversely related. So you're going to have this downward sloping demand curve where you plot each point. So what demand is basically an equation that tells us how much is given at each point. Obviously, these are estimates, but these are things that grocery stores keep up with. So on a normal March Saturday, we would have an expectation that if toilet paper is set at a certain price, we would sell a certain number of rolls of toilet paper. Jonas would expect that if a pizza cost $9, that they would sell 20 pizzas, and if a pizza cost $15, they would sell 8 pizzas. So these are reasonable expectations. Of course, we're going to talk about how those curves shift here due to changes in demand in a little bit, and of course you're seeing that happen in your regular life right now. All right, quantity demanded. Here is the amount demanded at a specific price. So what is the quantity demanded? And, again, you're just showing this change in quantity demanded. So what I want you to do here is draw this graph and show 2 points and a shift across 2 points. And you could fill in the quantity demanded by looking at the graph. Okay, don't sweat this graph as much, but do fill in this quantity demanded chart so that you're showing me you can read the chart. All right, we're going to talk about supply now. So supply on the circular flow, supply is going to occur in the factor market. And supply is the production of goods and services by a business for sale to consumers. Okay, the entrepreneur is trying to make a profit here. So the law of supply says that when the price rises, the quantity supplied rises. So for supply, price and quantity are directly related. They're synchronized, like our swimmers down here. That means that if people are willing to pay more for something, entrepreneurs are going to do their best to increase the amount that's available. So right now, Ingles really wants to put toilet paper on the shelves because they're seeing a shortage. They're seeing that they can sell it for more if the market is allowed to move unrestricted. And there are lots of people trying to sell toilet paper to others at high prices. You saw that in an article that we looked at today where people were hoarding it and selling it. Your supply schedule, you're going to have to scroll down a little bit. Again, sorry about the out of order here. But if you scroll down to where we talked through demand and we've got supply here on the circular flow, we talked about that was in the factor market. We talked about the law of supplies, the idea that prices increase, quantity supplied increases. And then your supply schedule is going to be your chart showing supply at different prices. So I've got the different prices here on the left-hand side, and the quantity is here on the right-hand side. Supply curve, if you will, here you can define the supply curve as the graph of a supply schedule. So as prices for those Starbucks pumpkin spice lattes go up, the quantity of lattes will increase. So you can graph here your supply curve. Quantity supplied is the amount supplied at a specific price. And we're going to talk about that in a little more depth, but it really does matter when we talk about changes in quantity supplied that you understand that quantity supplied is quantity supplied at different prices, because we're going to talk about the supply as a whole curve. So supply is the whole equation. Quantity supplied are the inputs to that equation. Let's talk market equilibrium. So I'm going to scroll back up to where we left off up here, and you'll see the equilibrium, and you can see the equilibrium price. That's going to be where supply and demand meet. So equilibrium price is going to be on the y-axis. Equilibrium quantity is going to be on the x-axis. And in this case, they're $5 and $5. Probably not the best way to test what you know. There are going to be two groups that interact in the product market. Households, these are your demanders, your paying customers. And business, these are your suppliers. They're, of course, going to cross at your equilibrium price and quantity. Equilibrium price is also known as market clearing price. It's the price that would make everyone happy. So here is our graph. You can see the equilibrium price is $5, the equilibrium quantity is $5, and that's what's copied on your paper. Okay. When the price is set too high, so you should have defined equilibrium price where supply and demand meet, the price where supply and demand meet, also known as market clearing price. If the price is set too high, you are going to end up with a surplus. So you can highlight the right answer there. If the price is set too low, guess what? You'll end up with a shortage. So you can highlight the correct answer here. So then I want you to fill in an example of a shortage, which should be extraordinarily easy given the times that we're living in. All right, now that you've filled in shortage, let's talk price ceiling and price floor. We have talked about this a little bit in class, but a price ceiling is where the price cannot go any higher. So the government sets a price that you can't go above. The examples you'd see on a test would be rent control, but the examples that we're dealing with right now are in our real life. And those are things like price caps. The governor and the president have declared a state of emergency, so Ingles can't raise the price on toilet paper. Because of that, they're sold out. People can buy more at that lower price, so you end up with shortages. So you're going to indicate your shortage by opening this graph and drawing your shortage line here. Okay? All right. Price floor. You can't go any lower than the price floor. Okay, so to define a price floor, that is a minimum price that you can't go below set by the government. The example of that is minimum wage. So you can open up your Google drawing here and put your price floor in. That's all you need to do for today. This is just day one. We'll pick up again tomorrow with day two. I do apologize for the confusion, and honestly, these notes will get you pretty far. We'll look at demand determinants tomorrow. And hang in there with me, guys. We're all learning together. Thanks.